Good morning, everyone. A very warm welcome to all the participants and speakers to the third edition of the DX Summit organized by the Confederation of Indian Industry and the CII Tata Communications Center for Digital Transformation. I welcome the distinguished speakers of the session on building a robust digital foundation for the infrastructure sector. Before we begin, I would like to request all speakers to keep their mics on mute and unmute while speaking. I would also request the speakers to keep their video on when they are speaking or presenting and adhere to the time as mentioned by the moderator. The session will be moderated by Mr. Amit Sinha Roy, the Vice President Global Head of Marketing and Communications, Tata Communications Limited. The other speakers of the session are Mr. Bital Bharadwaj, Group Chief Information Security Officer of the GMR Group, Dr. Hari Parameshwar, Director, Design and Build, Shapoorji Pallonji, Mr. S. Srinivasan, Director, India Technology and Engineering Center, Pune, India, Mr. Raj Kachu, Founder and CEO of VPlan from Canada, Mr. Nikhil Pathak, Vice President of and Business Development, Schneider Electric, Greater India Zone. Mr. Sachin Bhanushali was to join us. He's the CEO and Director, Gateway Rail Freight Limited, but his flight got delayed by 2 hours, so he's unable to make it. We'll have him at another session, perhaps. So the program is being run on the CII Hive platform. And as I mentioned earlier, we have around more than 4,000 participants. I request the participants to type their questions in the Q&A section in the CII Hive, and we'll take it up at the end of the session. I would like to now briefly introduce Mr. Amit Sinha Roy, our moderator. He is the Vice President and Global Head of Marketing and Communications at Tata Communications Limited. Mr. Roy defines differentiated winning global marketing strategies, propositions, and programs for Tata Communications Enterprise, service provider and media and entertainment business across India, APAC and MECA, Europe and North America by focusing on segmentation, targeting and positioning for key solutions and platforms through direct and partner routes to markets that is then transformed into action through an account-based everything approach with a view to empowering each sales account manager effectively engage with their customers with bespoke solutions and propositions. I would like to now request Mr. Roy to kindly take the session forward. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Kavita. Good morning and warm welcome to my panelists and to the audience. I'm sure we will have a very engaging discussion today from what we've had in the prep sessions. Thank you for that introduction, Kavita. And I must now, of course, take the same opportunity to introduce the panelists, the esteemed panelists we have. Mr. Bital Bharadwaj, who's the Group Chief Information Security Officer at GMR Group, is an accomplished cybersecurity leader with extensive experience in building and leading global and regional cybersecurity programs for large organizations spanning multiple services and sectors. He has driven culture change and transformation in the space of governance and cybersecurity risk management for large complex environments. In his current role as Group CISO, if I may, for GMR Group, he is responsible for cybersecurity vision, strategy, and program across the group companies. Prior to joining GMR, he served as the CISO for GE Global Regions, driving regional cybersecurity strategy across all regions outside of North America for the company. Welcome to the panel. Dr. Hari Parameshwar is the Director, Design and Build for Shapoorji Pallonji. He is a seasoned infrastructure management professional with over 30 years of career brilliance in development of urban infrastructure, construction of airports, project management of mega projects, and spearheading environment and sustainability initiatives. Hari is the Director, Design and Build of Shapoorji Pallonji and Company and is stationed at Mumbai. He is the former Vice President of BIL and former Executive Vice President of GMR. And former Executive Director of AECOM. Dr. Hari is an engineering graduate with an MBA in Operations Management and MPhil in Human Resources and PhD in Business Administration. An avid marathoner, cyclist, and a yoga expert, Hari is also the author of 4 popular books. Welcome to the panel, sir. Mr. S. Srinivasan, Director, India Technology and Engineering Center at Pune, India. He's a manufacturing engineering graduate from the College of Engineering at Guindy. He is currently the Director of India Technology and Engineering Center at Kone Elevators. He has around 25 years of rich experience in the field of elevators. He has been holding various responsibilities in supply chain, engineering, and R&D. He's presently heading Kone's Global Technology Center. He's a gold medalist and also holds a master's degree in management systems from Birla Institute of Technology. Welcome to the panel, sir. Mr. Raj Kachu, thank you for joining us all the way from Canada. He has been a construction management professional for 30 years and has been working internationally in Asia, Middle East, and now in North America, as well as across the construction industry spectrum. He holds a Bachelor of Engineering from Osmania University and a master's degree in urban planning from CEPT. During the long span of his career, he has had the privilege of managing infrastructure projects from ground up as a contractor, as a consultant, and from the owner's side in projects globally. He has been actively in the industry since the days of ammonia blueprints and witnessed its transformation into the tech-driven industry it is now. The cumulative knowledge he gained in his journey, combined by his passion to solve industry problems, has founded VPlan Inc. to help North American small businesses mitigate risk, boost productivity, and achieve profits every step of the way. He has been striving to solve the industry pain points, delivering software-enabled services and real-time construction management software, Realteca, across the North America and Asian markets. With a focus on small and medium businesses, his vision and mission is to create a connected construction ecosystem within which construction businesses successfully become technologically enabled and thrive. Welcome to the panel, sir. Mr. Nikhil Pathak, who hasn't been with us, but he has recorded his message for us, which we shall be sharing. So let me introduce him. He's the Vice President of Offer Marketing and Business Development at Schneider Electric, Greater India Zone. He's an ardent advocate of energy efficiency leading to sustainability. His professional experience of more than 30 years spans across application domains of smart building, data centers, IT hardware, HVAC, consumer durables, electrical distribution in buildings, and industrial applications. While working for large multinational conglomerates like Schneider Electric and United Technologies, Nikhil has led a variety of roles across functional domains of P&L leadership, strategy deployment, operational transformation, strategic marketing, supply chain, M&A, and integration. He's a digital enthusiast, leveraging digitization for efficiency through various digital transformation projects for multiple geographies to improve customer experience, business, and operational efficiency. We look forward to viewing his video as we go through the session. So let me kick this off with a short excerpt, and then I shall be inviting each of my eminent panelists for an opening comment when they will share about their views on what is happening in building a robust digital foundation for the infrastructure sector. So a robust infrastructure is the key to success for any economy, and more so for a developing economy. As India is scaling up its current infrastructure, massive transformation is taking place across the value chain of this sector. From infrastructure financing to construction technologies, digital technologies, these are all enabling innovation, efficiency, and sustainability for the sector. The digital revolution can go a long way in improving quality, cutting costs, enhancing safety, reducing risks, and even boosting profits for this space and this industry. Additionally, the demand for smart and sustainable technologies has been gaining ground since the past few years, with increasing concerns about the environmental impact of construction activities. I'm sure we all remember construction activities getting pretty much shut down whenever there's a fog or smog or bad weather over Delhi, right? And Delhi NCR, in fact. Anyway, by making use of digital technologies, infrastructure companies can stay ahead in the race for incorporating innovations that are sustainable and aligning with the rising trend of constructing smart highways, bridges, smart buildings, and even smart cities across the globe. So today, I welcome all of you in the audience to join us for some very insightful conversations on how the infrastructure sector can leapfrog to the next stage of growth cycle backed by digital technologies. So let me open it up by asking and inviting Mr. Bithal Bhardwaj, Group CISO for GMR Group, to share his opening comments.
Thank you, Mr. Roy. I hope I'm audible.
Yes, indeed. Loud and clear.
Wonderful, wonderful. Since the topic for today is about how do you build a robust digital foundation for the infrastructure sector, so let me start from the perspective of what we talk about digital. When we talk about digital, right, what exactly are we talking about? So usually what we have seen that digital eh, transformation is a misused term in many perspectives. So there are two elements of digital transformation or building a digital foundation, which is robust in nature. One is the technology itself, and second is the objective you're going to meet using that technology, right? So when I talk about digital, to me, I call digital technology, which is being talked about today, as A to E suite fundamentally. When I say A to E suite, what I mean by that, A is nothing but your artificial intelligence or machine learning. Okay. When I talk about B, I'm talking about fundamentally your big data, data analytics. When I'm talking about C, I'm talking about the conversational technologies. When I'm talking about D, I'm talking about the distributed ledgers or blockchain. When I'm talking about E, I'm talking about the edge computing, which is IoT. So whenever you are hearing about the digital foundation, digital transformation, essentially you're talking about this A to E as a technology. Now, we should understand that infrastructure sector is not very tech savvy historically, right? But today, to drive the operational efficiencies, to drive the productivity more, you have to adopt these technologies. Now, that's where my key recommendation comes in. That the transformation, the foundation has to be mindful. So you cannot mix the technology deployment without keeping in mind that business strategy should drive what you're trying to achieve. So the outcome mindset is absolutely important because all these technologies we spoke about, they all play in the realms of big data, right? And we are living in a hyper connected world. Now, what that means is that if you are deploying technologies without knowing the benefits of that, without meeting the business objectives, you're creating more risk for the organization, right? So the mindful transformation, mindful foundation building is a key element of building a robust digital foundation for any organization. Second, it has to be cybersecurity centric, the entire effort, because cybersecurity cannot be bolted on. It has to be baked in as you're driving this digital transformation or building the digital foundation in the organization. And third, I would say that uh, data cannot be the afterthought. See, as I said, a lot of infrastructure companies, they're adopting technologies today, and they're primarily driven by what's being told by the vendors out in the market, right? Now, and usually what is seen in the industry is that, well, let's deploy this technology. Oh, it's good, we're going to get a lot of data. We'll figure out later what to do with that data. So again, when you drive this transformation or build this foundation, keep in mind business objective. Second, the cybersecurity elements. And third, what you're going to do with the data. It cannot be the afterthought. With those three things, I think I'll stop, Mr. Roy.
Thank you. That was amazing. And I've taken down a lot of notes. Outcome mindset, mindful transformation, A to E. I think that was very, very nicely put. Thank you. I shall come back to you with questions right after we finish the intro round. Let me now move to Dr. Hari Parmeshwar. If you're here, sir, to hear you on your opening comments, please.
Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Roy. Um, I think the previous speaker has set the tone about when we are talking about setting up a digital foundation for infrastructure industry. Yes, I do agree that construction industry, we have been very, very slow in adopting technology, and there are reasons. It is not that the construction industry is unique compared to other industries in many ways. One is that it's a very low margin business. Today, in fact, as a construction company, I know that when we are putting a bid, we don't keep a lot of margin. It's a very competitive world. There is cutthroat competition. And hardly what we are targeting during a bidding stage is 5 or 6% margin. And we might end up, sometime with 2 or 3% margin when we complete a project. So there always this concern is there about, is it right to invest? Are we going to really get the return for the investment I'm going to make? So this question always comes in construction industry. That is one reason why this industry has been always slow in adopting technology. And second, as it is, it's a very competitive world, I said. Then it's also a very highly risky business. I mean, with the today's the market conditions are so risky. The prices are fluctuating, and every time during the construction stage itself, we need to many times change the strategy about executing the project. That's another reason. Then also you can say it's one of the riskiest the business when it comes to the safety hazards. I don't think that any other industry has this kind of hazard. So it's a risky business. And in India, as it is a manpower intensive, business. In Western countries, mostly people adopt technology because they don't have manpower. India, the case is different. So this has been a reason, every time when we talk about adopting new technology, making a digital base, always these questions comes out. So fundamentally, we need to answer many questions whether adopting a technology, is it really going to cut down your construction time? Because this is one of the concern today. India, every project is taken upon, war footing basis. There could be a lot of delays in getting a sanction, but once we get the sanction, then everybody is on the contractor. You complete the project earliest. So if the technology is going to really help us in cutting down the construction time, yes, it is really worth taking it up. Second question generally comes is about the quality. Today, because of our global access, the global visibility, we are all become really quality conscious. And we have seen, the kind of quality, construction quality, the infrastructure outside the world. So we are really quality conscious. So we are looking again to the technology. Can we improve the construction quality? And the major concern is cost. Everybody want to cut down the cost today. So if the technology is going to help us in cutting down the cost, it is always worth adopting. And also it could add for, the improving the profitability of the organization. Then another thing you must be knowing today is most of the infrastructure projects, the building projects to any kind of mega projects, it has become very complex. It is not simply, there was a time the buildings were very easy to build. Today, it's a combination of multiple systems. You need to integrate this multiple system. So that today's mega projects are so complex. And we again look into the technology, asking, can this technology simplify this complexity of the project so that I can execute in the right way? Then resource optimization, many times technology will help for me to optimize the resource that would further again contribute for profitability. Then similar way, the construction productivity for the last 100 years also, the worldwide we have been looking, construction productivity is always a concern. While all other industries have improved tremendously, by adopting technology, improved in their productivity, but the construction productivity globally, we could not make much improvement. So this is another area we are looking at by adopting artificial intelligence or any other technology. Can we improve the productivity? Yeah. So I think these are the basic, the reason why today most of the construction companies, most of the organizations in the infrastructure sector looking for adopting technology. I think it's the need of the time. We don't have choice today. I don't think that we have a choice to ignore the need of adopting, the technology. I think this is what I thought of making an initial statement. Then probably I would add up more, as we move forward.
No, thank you very much for sharing those very, very useful insights. So profitability, timeliness, efficiency, safety, quality, all of this, but all with a view to operational efficiencies, if I may, right? How to deploy technology for that. Very, very insightful, sir. May I now move to Mr. Srinivasan from Kone, India, for your opening comments, please, sir?
Thank you, Mr. Amit, and good morning to all. Let me start by introducing Kone a bit, and then I would also talk about what we are trying to do with the digital technologies in terms of helping the infrastructure in terms of providing new services and also providing value to our customers. Kone is a leader in elevator and escalator technology. It's an 110-year-old organization. We have operations in 60 plus countries. We have 1.4 million elevators and escalators in service across the globe. And most importantly, we move around 1 billion people every single day. And our mission is to improve the flow of urban life. What do we mean by that? We are just not an organization that's providing elevators or escalators as equipments, but we are providing people flow, meaning we are moving people in and between buildings in a safe, reliable, and efficient way. And today we are embarking in the path of digitalization, adapting digital technologies. And as Mr. Bharadwaj said, we need to be really mindful of why we are doing this. And here we have two pillars in mind. One is urbanization, and number two is sustainability. And we're driving these digital technologies to kind of enhance these two main aspects. Now, if I look at the technology aspects and see how the technology has been evolving over a period of time, we are slowly moving from the thinking of product in the sense that equipments, it's just not enough for equipments to be standalone equipments, just doing its functional purpose. We are looking at systems, developing systems. For example, we are just not providing elevators and escalators, we are providing people flow systems. And we are taking this approach in the direction that tomorrow these systems in the buildings are able to work with other systems in the buildings with all the digital technologies, so that we are able to bring in new values to our customers and new features to the buildings. And we are thinking in the lines of using digital technologies to make elevator systems as part of people flow system become a subsystem of the building ecosystem. And thinking in kind of a little longer span, we also think of moving boundaries in the sense that we could also expand the concept of system of systems to also being part of the larger city ecosystem or the smart city ecosystem. So that's the direction we are moving in terms of digitalization.
Thank you very much. That is a number I couldn't believe. 1 billion people per day, right? And improving the flow of urban life. I love that. I wish we had a solution for the traffic jams which are coming back. I was actually missing some of the traffic jams during the lockdowns, right? But now when I'm back in there, I remember the horror of getting stuck for hours, right? So it's all coming back. Hopefully we'll have solutions for that moving forward. Let me now invite Mr. Raj Kachu. Thanks once again for joining us. It's well past midnight in Canada, but we're very, very privileged to have you here. If you would like to start with your opening comments, please.
Thank you very much, Mr. Amit, and also fellow panelists, and also CIF for bringing this opportunity to me. So already Mr. Hari and Mr. Bharadwaj shared some of the insights, but I am privileged to have worked in multiple parts of the world and also across the segments for 30 years. And the pain points are more or less the same, even in North America, though we are focused. The problem is the productivity issue. So I would like to share some of the proven stats for construction. Though it's one of the oldest industries known to mankind, it's the least digitized one after agriculture. So there's only one sector which is less than construction, that's agriculture. About the risk, after the restaurant business, construction is the most riskiest business. Do you believe that after thousands of years into existence, the same industry is still the most riskiest one? And that's construction. Coming to the losses, it's proven that 17% of the operational budget is lost due to inefficiencies. Even though you have the latest technology tools and also methods, still there is 17% is lost And this is a loss to the society, to everyone. Sometimes you think someone's loss is another party's profit, but it's not so. Everyone is losing. So this is the time that the whole industry will really adopt some of the management practices that would really eliminate this. Now, how it is possible? One way to look at this, these industries are building the tools with the technology. Construction is highly fragmented. So I think there are more than 40 different types of construction divisions we call here, but it's types of industries, and also multiple layers of the sizes of the contracts and segments. So it's everywhere. So you don't have one solution that can fit for every problem. But there are some generic problems which we have taken. With my experience, we are trying to address one problem, that's operational efficiency. Whether it's a billion-dollar company or a small family business, the pain point is the same, operational inefficiency. So how we can mitigate that? So for that, most of the companies, they're looking for internal management. Let's say a company comes up with ERP software. Their target is to minimize the risk and also bring their processes efficiency. Now, if you look at the construction, your project is actually not 100% owned by you. Probably 25%, 75% of the work is done by multiple stakeholders, subcontractors, trade contractors, suppliers, everyone. So when you are buying out the project, you are also buying out their inefficiency, not only the profit. So a company handling $1 million project or $100 million project, typically in North America, 75% is done by the external companies or partners. Probably it would be the same in India too, because manpower is available there. Probably it would be different, but just a range. So if a company starts implementing an ERP software or a tool management tool, that really doesn't solve the problem, because you are already connected with outside ecosystem before the bidding and during the project implementation. So the solution should involve everyone from all the sides. Now there comes who would bring these changes. You have to bring outside partners. You also have to implement system for your internal management. So this problem I see in 3 different locations: your internal management, and also your partner's internal management, and the bridge which is connecting both of you. So if you improve these 3 different areas of the functionality, the efficiency would improve. And once the operational efficiency improves, with the profits, with the surplus, probably they can reinvest in improvement for the overall industry. So as Mr. Hari said, it's low margin business. Probably 5%, 2%, if someone gets out the project, they are lucky. Otherwise, most of the projects, they end up in losses. If we talk to contractors every day. I mean, I work with small and medium contractors every day, day to day. If you talk to them, they say that, probably this project may be okay, but I will do money in the next project. I think this could be the same feeling for everyone. We need to change that. Now, how it can be done? The stakeholders are four types of organizations, I feel. One is the government. Government can probably, due to compliance requirements or maybe mandatory requirements, they can establish a system where there is certain level of digital management required by everyone. The general contractor, the architect, the designer, even the subcontractors. Let us have some common platform to have digital practices or management practices. That's one. Second is associations like CII. Let's say you take 50,000 contractors in India, educate them what are the benefits of digitization in the practices and management. And it doesn't cost much, I can say, because we are producing the product, we can offer, or anyone can offer for that matter. So this is education required from industry associations. And the next one is about the big companies. Let's say a company is working with 500 subcontractors. If you improve your own efficiency, as I said before, that doesn't solve the problem. Can you help your 500 project partners to also improve their efficiency? Because if they are efficient, definitely you also will be profitable in your project. And these are the three. And then the last one is the investors. I think construction as such is not really profitable business. So the investments don't flow into the technology like other startups. So investors also have to focus on that in the long-term view of the industry growth, and they can come into picture. So when all of us together, we can actually bring the changes that will change the complete industry. So this is my opening comments.
Thank you very much for all those additional insights. And I didn't know that, 17% is lost. I mean, when you're talking about a wafer thin margin of 3 to 4%, and saving any part of this would completely convert and change the overall industry. Let me now request Kavita, if we could play the recording of the video that Mr. Nikhil Pathak had kindly shared with us, even though he's not able to join.
We will do that.
Thanks. That was indeed a very, very insightful opening and played to a lot of the questions that I also had. And I wish we had him here in person, but unfortunately couldn't join. So big thank you in absentia for recording and sending us this very insightful speech. So let's move forward with the questions that we had. If I may start with you, Mr. Bharadwaj. GMR has been one of the major global players in infrastructure development projects, right? For airports, transportation, power plants. And we heard about some of the challenges from the previous panelists in some of these areas and green data centers and so on and so forth. But with the increased focus on building a sustainable infrastructure globally, how do you see this overall landscape shifting from a GMR perspective? And also, what is the role of specific technologies that you see in playing this shift, right? So two questions. How do you see the overall landscape shifting? The second part to that question is, what is the role of technology or specific technologies in that shift?
Right. No, it's a wonderful question, Mr. Roy. As you know, GMR operates in the airport sector, power sector, and urban infrastructure as well. While urban infrastructure and power sector is still known to people, airport is still a mystery for a lot of them. Okay, so let me focus on that part. I can tell you that airport, by the very nature of the business, right, uh, is not new to technology. Flying being the most risky transportation still is the safest. And that's primarily because of the adoption of the technologies, primarily in the space of communications, navigations, and there are multiple elements of technology which is highly embedded into how an airport operates fundamentally, right? So technology per in the airport sector. However, we are the airport globally is undergoing a transformation, right? As more and more airports are getting privatized in India and abroad. So the newer companies are coming in and bringing in a lot of their expertise and experimenting with a lot of technologies there. So let me touch on some of those elements there, Mr. Roy. Uh, and as I said in my opening remarks as well, when I talk about digital transformation of foundation, I always start with the outcome, right? What are we going to achieve with the technology? Not really the technologies. Technology is I said A to E, straightforward, right? But where am I trying to bring in this technology in the environment? Let's just look at that, right? There are three or four elements I'm going to touch upon without elaborating much upon multiple other areas. But three key ones are, I would put the number one as the passenger journey itself, because airport is a large facility where you have a lot of retail, right? So you would like to maximize the time spent, in the shops or in the lounges at the airports instead of your passengers waiting in the queue for the boarding pass or dropping the baggage and those kind of stuff. So that's where you want to bring in the technology, right? From a passenger experience and the journey standpoint. There are multiple elements where we're seeing a lot of action happening in the airport sector. One is about how do you push the real-time travel information to the passengers so that they can anticipate the changes in their journey, right? You're looking at how do I guide the passengers throughout the journey via a smartphone, okay? Now, we all are hearing about metaverse. So talks in the industry, how do we bring in that virtual reality, augmented reality into the airport so that passengers can use that and engage themselves airport experience there. More importantly, from passenger standpoint, how do I increase the level of self-service, to save time and to avoid queues? I think there's a lot of action, a lot of technologies being adopted. I won't name a specific technology because it's always a combination of multiple technologies to achieve that outcome, which is fundamentally your passenger experience. That's the first space which we're looking at. Second space we're looking at is what we're seeing across the industry is the operational efficiency, right? You have a limited number of the parking, number of the boarding gates. So the operational efficiency plays a significant role. So we're talking about how do I streamline the processes to achieve the better efficiency on the ground activities. For example, be it the security, be it the ground handling, be it the runway or the maintenance of the maintenance operations. All of that, how do I improve and streamline that element? Safety is a priority. So how do I reduce operational risks, causing potential delays or any kind of incident as well? That's another area of digital transformation or digital adoption in the airport sector. So when I talk about that, multiple possibilities for technologies. Well, how do you automate the ground activities? For example, luggage movement, right? The security check-ins. You must have seen the e-boarding at our Delhi airport or Hyderabad airport. All of that is part of that. So how do I automate all of those activities without the minimal touch point for the passengers? Okay. We're talking about how do I automate the proactive measures, because a lot of the operations at the airport is dependent on your weather conditions, on the traffic conditions, right? There can be an outages at one of the supply chain, because airport is where all of these carriers, cargo, and multiple supply chain companies comes together, right? How do I automate some of those measures which will keep it all effective? Largely, how do I monitor the operations in the real time so that I can quickly deal with the issues, right? How do I optimize the preventive maintenance? Something not new for the power sectors and other sectors as well, but same thing applies here as well. Be it the baggage handling, be it the building management system, all of that. How do I optimize the preventive maintenance of all the different pieces of machinery we have in there? Third and the last I would like to touch upon is how do I increase the retail and the ancillary revenue at the airport? Okay. And when I say that, I mean, how do I maximize the revenues generated through the travel retail? How do I optimize the use of valuable space at the airport? When I talk about that, the play of technology would be specifically in the area of, well, we're pushing out the commercial information to the customers, special deals happening or the tailored experience through the smartphones. We can use the digital walls, for say duty free. That's where technology comes into the play as well. It can introduce the pick up of different things at the airports. So fundamentally, three areas I talked about: the passenger journey, the operational efficiency, and the third is the retail and the ancillary revenues. How can we maximize that? And multiple technologies, all A to E, actually has a role to play in there. Over to you, Mr. Roy.
Thank you very much for sharing the internals of the airport. I was almost remembering pre-COVID times, and I used to be there at least twice a week, if not more frequently. Hopefully, it's going to come back. Delhi Airport, brilliant place, for travel experience. If I may move to Dr. Parmeshwar now, and the question I have for you, sir, is Shapoorji Pallonji has been one of the pioneers in this sector in India, right? What are some of the challenges that you see in digital transformation of the infrastructure value chain, right? And how are you addressing these, or how are these being addressed? So infrastructure value chain in your industry, what do you see in digital transformation there, and how are these being addressed?
Okay, yeah, thank you, Amit. So let me put it in a slightly different manner. I will try to answer it. As I mentioned in the beginning, and also I'm thankful that Raj has given me a bit of insight about the industry. So I will just continue a little bit from there. So as Raj mentioned, the construction industry is considered, construction is the oldest profession in the world, because the humans have been always constructing it. Maybe millions of years back, we started, maybe constructing a hut. From there, we started making our houses, then, the major infrastructure. Now in India, the Taj Mahal was built maybe 400 years back. And today also it is beautiful, intact. Nothing happened to that structure. Maybe Qutub Minar was built 800 years back. And the pyramids built maybe 4,000 years back is still there. It has withstood all the other conditions. So traditionally we have been building infrastructure, we have been building structures. So we know, the human know how to construct. So I think that is one major thing, that making a major change in that industry, which was existing here for, thousands of years. It is not that easy. Okay. Now, coming to, let me focus only into construction because other people are touching upon the infrastructure and other automation. Let me look only into construction field where Shapurji is involved. So the major challenges we have been facing, it starts when I'm talking about project life cycle. It starts at the proposal stage when we are getting a bid. And today, the format of most of the bids are EPC, wherein the owner gives us a very bare minimum information. What we are getting is something like an LOD 100 or 150 level of design. And based on that, we need to, put a bid. So they are the accurate quantification, unless we work out a quantity of every element, every material, every aspect of that project. What we are targeting is generally plus or minus 2.5% accuracy. And with the kind of the low level of inputs we get at the bidding stage, it is really, really a big challenge. So this has been a bigger challenge for most of the construction companies. And now today, what has happened is that a lot of these digital tools which are available for us make the things much easier. And it is also making much, less risky, to put a bid. So for example, the BIM, today, most of the clients are giving us a BIM model instead of giving 2D drawings. So even though that BIM, what we are getting may be LOD 150, but we again use our design team to make it a little bit further or something around LOD 200. That would give us, the enough information for a quantity takeoff. And at the same way, during the bidding itself, now we do more or less an accurate planning, project planning. We use a Primavera. So their complete sequencing, we do it in the bidding stage itself. And it gives a lot of visibility about the project in advance. And also some of the risk we foresee in the proposal stage itself. Now, what we do is that we go one more step ahead. We integrate both. We integrate both and make a 4D model wherein I know that if it is 100 weeks, the project execution time, all 100 weeks, I know that each and every day what kind of activities I'm going to do at the site. So this gives a lot of visibility to today at a proposal stage itself. And it makes me to analyze risk. And also we can, find the right contingencies, how to shield the risk. So this is the most important, important value addition happened in the recent time in the proposal stage. Now, if we go and hit the ground, many times, the site is handover, like, if it's an airport project, maybe 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 acres of land is handed over to us. Now, what is lying below, we don't know. There could be utilities, right? There could be old power lines running, many things. And it was so difficult for olden days. Today, what happens is that we have this, GIS mapping available, and you can make this GIS mapping, and you can even pinpoint what is lying below the ground. We are able to identify the utilities. If something needs to be shifted, we are able to do it. Now, the traditional way of topographic surveys are gone now. Now, the LIDAR surveys or even drone surveys are making the things very fast. In few days, we can get a complete survey done of 1,000 acres of land. And also the data processing is so fast. Everything is coming at one place and it is analyzing and coming out with the outcome is very fast. So from there, if you move further, even drones are today used for real-time monitoring. The construction progress can be monitored sitting in the control room. Even for DMR, I know that, there's a war room, they call it in the headquarters. Sitting there, they can see all the projects. If they have 5 airport projects, what is happening every day in real time, they are able to sit there and monitor. Okay. So technology has gone up to that level. Now, artificial intelligence, the use of artificial intelligence, I think there are 2 ways of using artificial intelligence. One is about automation. Today, you can see that when it comes to the earthwork, I'm again talking about the major infrastructure project where the huge volume of earthwork is there, the cutting and filling involved. Today, you can find all these equipments are automated. Your graders are automated, your compactors are automated, even for the permits, the pavers are automated. There is a base station setup. Then through your GPS, all your design document, whatever the civil 3D design you have done, that goes into your server, and your base station controls the equipment. The driver only sits there and holds the steering. Okay. So these kind of automation has happened, and also artificial intelligence now is used for making a lot of predictions, right? All the data, like Bharadwaj was mentioning about how to process the data. We have a lot of data from the past. Using that data, now we can also make predictions about what is ahead. So this way, artificial intelligence are used in construction in a big way. Then another big thing happened today is about the VR models, the virtual reality models, right? At a design stage itself, now we create these virtual models that gives a clear visibility for all the stakeholders. Now, for a client, for a customer, otherwise, unless you complete this project, they don't get exactly how it is going to look like. Today, before we start the construction, we make them the walkthrough, take their opinion. Okay, something need to be improved. Then and there, we are able to, make it. Again, a common data environment, most of the things today in the design series, so what I'm designing today is seen by everyone. If there's a PMC can also access and see what exactly is status. Client can, in the same platform, client is also working, they can also access. When my all document transmittal happens on the same platform, the comments happens on the same platform, the approval happens on the same platform. So all this, the communication is properly documented. Even after 2 years, I want to take complete log of what has happened. If there was a delay in getting certain approval, what exactly has happened. If I want to know, everything is documented. So that way, I think, a lot of value additions has happened in the construction industry in the recent time. Then similar way, the simulations, again, I am also coming from an airport background, and, Mr. Bharadwaj must be knowing that. Now, particularly if you want to make an expansion of the existing facility, existing terminal. Now, always we expanded for adding X number of, the passengers, the millions of passengers. Now, whether, when this building, how efficiently it can work, a lot of simulation tools are available today. Okay. Similarly, on the air side, the complete simulation, if you want to do, a lot of simulations are available. So in the forehand, we do the real life scenario, do the simulations, and in case anything need to be refixed, anything need to be, any adjustments need to be done at the design stage itself, we can do it. So otherwise, the India, yes, we are not at par with what is happening across the globe, but otherwise globally, now the 3D printing is happening. 3D printing, the concrete, the printing machines are there. The construction has become fast. Robotics are introduced in the construction. So these are all the things happened in the recent time, and that is making the construction faster, more efficient. The quality has gone up, and naturally, the productivity improves. It makes the organization also more profitable.
Thank you for sharing that and bringing in all the other perspectives. VR was one area that, very appealing, and I know it's been applied, and it can really bring to life all the plans which were earlier, 2D or 1D or even somewhat 3D, but then this just brings it to life. Thank you very much. Let me move to Mr. Srinivasan now from Kone, India. And you mentioned, and now I see my notes and I see that it was off by manifold, that you're handling unique dimension of urban ecosystem, transporting 1 billion people. I had written some millions, but 1 billion people from one point to another across all formats of physical infrastructure spaces, right? So from IoT, automation, cloud adoption, there are many technologies that are playing a pivotal role in shaping this ecosystem to bring in more efficiency, safety, convenience, and more for end consumers. So how do you see these technologies in terms of the impact, right, in your core business of moving people? So if you could share something on that.
Thanks, Amit, again. And like I shared in my opening speech, we are more and more moving from a product-centric approach to an systems approach, developing more and more smart systems. I try to explain this with an example of our own industry with elevators, but then I guess this is going to be true for all the equipments that would eventually operate in the buildings. Now, if you look at elevators, it's no more going to be a metal box going up and down, transporting people. Now, what we're trying to do is to make our equipments smarter and make it work seamlessly with other systems in the buildings. And how is technology helping here? Our previous speaker talked about this 3-layer architecture, wherein the connectivity is the foundation. What we're trying to do is building the connectivity capability in our equipments, so that our equipments are able to communicate, and we're also able to integrate our equipments and systems to the other equipments in the buildings. And through this connectivity, we are also able to connect our equipments to the cloud platform. And using APIs, we are able to make our systems work seamlessly with the rest of the systems in the buildings. Now, with this, we are able to achieve, I would say, basically 4 things. One, we're able to connect our equipments with other systems in the buildings. For example, it could be a security system, or it could be the building management system. Secondly, we are also able to integrate our equipment with third-party applications. Okay, for example, let's say the visitor management applications. Okay. We all use these mobile apps in our apartments or in office buildings for visitor management. We can integrate that with the elevator or the escalator systems. Third, we are able to connect our own equipments. For example, the elevator to the turnstiles. We all spoke about the airports and other office building, commercial buildings, where we have many of these equipments, and we are able to also connect these equipments together so that there is seamless flow of our movement of the people. And fourth, we are also able to connect our equipments directly to the end users. Okay, and for example, we are able to push messages to the end user and also enable the end users to communicate with the elevators. Today, we have technologies where you can give a remote call using a mobile phone. You don't have to go touch a button with all the fear of COVID and getting in contact with the surfaces. We have technologies today, we have services today where we have an application where we can directly from the end user mobile phone give a remote call to the elevators. Okay, so these are things that we are trying to achieve with the digital technologies. Let me also give you some very practical examples of how these are used in day-to-day life. Okay, some random examples. Okay, I will start with, for example, robots. Today, there are a number of, even in a country like India, there are a number of companies that's coming up with robot services. Okay, be it a cleaning services in a building, or be it a room service in a hotel industry, or be it in hospitals, moving pharmacy and other medical equipments, or for cleaning services in hospitals. There are more and more robots that's going to be used in the buildings. Now, these robots have to move up and down the building. Obviously, they're not going to use the stairs. Now, how do we make our equipment, the elevator, communicate with the robot so that the robot is autonomously able to move up and down the buildings? That's one very practical example, and we are already doing that. Second, I already spoke about visitor management. Okay, and all of us living in apartments or in office complexes, we use these mobile applications for visitor management, and there are several popular platforms, and there are a number of use cases that can happen by integrating the elevators or escalators to the visitor management. For example, there is say a pizza delivery or a Flipkart delivery that's coming to your apartment, and sitting at your home using the same platform, visitor management platform, you can dispatch an elevator for the delivery person, and also giving access to the particular floor. Okay, and other example could be you use the same platform also to give a call to an elevator. You don't have to physically go touch the buttons there. Another good example I would give is that, of course, this is happening in Europe and eventually would come to India as well. That we are partnering with a company called Blind Square, which is providing navigation services for visually challenged people. Okay. Now, we are integrating our elevators and equipments to this Blind Square app so that we are able to help people with the visually challenged people to navigate through the buildings and locate the elevator so that they can also move vertically across the buildings. So number of use cases, and we can start to build a number of them that would bring in new services to the building that would kind of add value to the customers, to the building managers, and also to the end users.
Thank you, sir. I think that robo, part really caught me, right? Because I was just thinking, yeah, how do they open the elevator to come upstairs to deliver? Because I've seen the videos of these robo delivery machines roaming around on the streets, right? With the secure compartment having the item that they're supposed to deliver, whether it's a food or consumer item, right? But I never thought about how will they get into the elevator and go to the right floor, right? Yeah, so yeah, these are the last mile things that you're sorting out. Yeah, very, very interesting. Thank you for that. Let me now move to Mr. Raj Kachra. I'm so sorry. It's like, I think 1 a.m. past 1 a.m. for you now, but thank you for staying on with us. My question to you is, VPlan has built a solution for the construction management and real-time tracking of the projects, right? So as we all understand, lack of proper project management practices in the construction space causes huge time delays. We heard about the margin loss, 17%, which is increasing costs. So can you throw some light on how the solution that you have tracks the project flow in real time, and what kind of analytics does it give back to the contractors so that it's useful information for them?
Okay, so I think I have an extended time, so I would be short on this answer. So the concept behind the underlying concept for Real Tracker is interesting. As I shared, I talk to clients and I give an analogy like, if you buy the fastest Ferrari and try to drive in the downtown of any city, okay, Delhi, Hyderabad, New York, anywhere. So you cannot drive faster than the slowest other vehicle in the street. This is because this is the whole ecosystem. Everyone is driving on the same road, but you have this thing. So when big companies, big projects, they want to bring small companies to deliver the job, who actually spend manpower, material, resources on the field, you have to upgrade everyone to a certain level based on their own requirement. So that's the concept. So we are trying to, so when you said project, so project actually is a partnership of many companies. That's what I see. I think it may be same in India too. So it's not just one company's project because of the output is created by many. So Real Tracker has something for everyone. The companies can manage their internal processes, lots of different types of process, accounting, then daily reporting, inventory management, etc. Second, as Hari said, pre-bidding. So you need to connect to the entire outside world for pre-bid. Yes, you can connect to Real Tracker. Now you won the bid, it becomes a project. You have to connect with your suppliers and subcontractors post-bid. Yes, you can. Now the concept of push and pull. Okay, are you pushing your software to the small companies who are not tech savvy? I think the risk of construction industry is because it has lowest entry barrier. Anyone become small contractor. So are you pushing your high-tech software onto the small companies? It doesn't work. And also I want to give some insight to Hari that even in North America, the digitization is not that much in construction management. Because I have almost met 100 clients in India in the last 3 months, and also in US is the same situation here too. So what I say push and pull, Real Tracker offers also benefits for the small company, same platform, so they are pulling towards them. But you are pushing because you also need efficiency. So that way, one single platform is serving multiple stakeholders in the system. Now then I come to the government system. So when we want to build foundation for the country, for the sector, you have to really upgrade the entire ecosystem. So slowly, you can bring this construction management technology from the small players, like a pyramid. Like you have hundreds and thousands of small contractors, let them adopt slowly the technology. That would help even the big companies and ultimately bring profits to everyone and also to the society. Coming back to the part of that question, metrics, Real Tracker is actually flexible and also customizable. So whatever kind of metrics the management wants, higher level, middle level, and the field level, we can provide that for small companies or big companies. So it's like a real-time war room, as he says. So what metrics you want? Schedule performance index, cost performance index, how we are doing with every item you purchase against budget, actual versus budget. So that way everyone has their metrics. So the concept is measure, manage, and prevent. So this is available for every stakeholder in the project. That's what all Real Tracker is about. I think I answered that question, probably.
Yes, indeed, sir, you did. Thank you very much. And I was also looking at the notes I made from your earlier discussion. So very, very useful, and I'm sure our audience is, really, really benefiting from this discussion. So, Kavita, do we have any questions from the audience? Or if there's somebody from CDT, can you just let me know if there are some questions from the audience that we could ask the eminent panelists?
Not yet. I think, Mr. Roy, they have just heard the speakers. They might be typing in. But in the meanwhile, if the panelists have any questions to each other, they may continue. I'll let you know. Yes, I think Mr. Kachu had a question.
So I have a request for you, actually, also for panelists, like big companies managing the big players in the market. If you are ready to really bring changes into the ecosystem, I'm ready to work with all the stakeholders, just like sharing the ideas and insights. Make a newsletter, like form something as a group, and then probably bring stats, how many big companies are, 500, 10,000 and 50,000. Then start like talking to all the players, and slowly, I mean, it should be a continuous process, like after this event. I hope really the effort take some shape, and in the coming years probably the whole construction industry would have a good foundation, so everyone can benefit from it. It's not company specific or technology specific, but the whole industry can have a good foundation, and that's how everyone can benefit. That's my request to CIA.
No, this is a very good point. And Kavita, there's a point for us to note from the CDT, right? That we are having this amazing discussion today with all these insights, and we should continue this journey, right? And
the reason, I'm sorry to interrupt you, because from September till now, I spoke one-to-one with more than 120 clients in India.
wow.
I spoke to company with $1 billion turnover in India, the management, and also small company, architectural company, everyone. I have a lot of insights to share. What is real pain points and how those can be addressed.
Yes. So in fact, just to share with yourselves as well as with the audience, CII and Tata Communications jointly created the Center for Digital Transformation 4 years plus now, right? It's in the fourth year. We've crossed the 4 years. And it's about driving adoption of digital transformation, digital experience in India, right? And across enterprises. And we have been having similar discourses now, in discussions. We have capability to assess digital readiness. We have a tool called Dexcel that was co-developed together that can be used by organizations to test where they are in the digital transformation journey. And we've been working on multiple aspects of enabling people, cybersecurity. I can't even count the number of sessions, but over 1,000 people have been trained, and many other good things have happened. So starting from assessing where a company or an industry is across healthcare, infrastructure, automotive, name it all. And now we're talking specific infrastructure here, all the way through to helping them on that journey to actually having awards for the best implementations, right? So it's a full cycle, right? And so we must absolutely continue this conversation. along with CII, CDT for
Because I
DX.
have experienced small changes from established agencies can
Right.
change the lives of a lot of small businesses. And I saw that, we changed that, small thing.
It's small and large, right? It's across the industry. Thank you very much. So I know we're down to the last 10 minutes. So if I may request each one of you for your closing comments on the topic at hand, so the digital infrastructure for specifically looking at India, and then we will close the session. So if I may invite Mr. Bhardwaj for your closing comments, please.
Thank you, Mr. Roy. I think I'd like to close with the remarks that we're talking about digital transformation today, and we're talking specifically about the infrastructure sector. As companies get onto their digital transformation journey, ours is the only industry where digital has the physical consequences if not managed well. This is where your IT, which is your information technology, and your OT, which is your operational technology, comes together. To give you an example, a lot of these organizations may not be connected to the internet today, may not have that level of connectivity, but because of transformation, they are opening up their fences, right? So cybersecurity has to be at the core of this digital transformation. Simple example would be a boiler at an power plant can be hacked in. You can rise the temperature to a point where it can blast as well. So with the digital transformation, with connectivity comes a lot of cyber risks, which are very, very real today, right? So be mindful of cybersecurity as this industry gets on to the digital transformation and build a digital foundation. In today's context, the battles between the countries and the regions are not fought, with the armies, Air Force, or the Navy. It's through the cyber attacks. There are numerous examples where I think the recent one a few years back in New York, the floodgates of a dam was opened up. Thankfully, there was no water. Just imagine what could have happened to that city. So we're talking about this sector, which is now getting onto this journey of digital transformation. So please, please, please be mindful of the transformation and bring cybersecurity to the core of your strategy, please. That's my closing remarks, Mr. Roy.
Thank you very much. And we do this training from CDTA periodically from Center of Digital Transformation on cybersecurity, and we'll continue with that. Dr. Parmeshwar, if I may invite you for your closing comments, please.
Yeah, yes, Amit. I would like to, bring a few challenges because I heard Raj and you speaking about, there's a lot of hesitation. There's no doubt that in construction industry, when you are planning for a major digital transformation, there's a resistance, but there are valid reasons why this resistance is there. So as I mentioned earlier, the main concern is always about the budget because the construction companies are not in a position to make a huge investment unless they are convinced about, the returns it is going to bring on table. Now, in general, if you look globally, the IT spend on, if you take it on revenue of the project, it is less than 1%, whereas in India, it is less than 0.25% today. Now we have to, move from there. Now, having said that, there are a lot of solution providers in the market. I think today the market is full of solution providers. Most of the multinationals are here to sell their product. But honestly, all these solutions are very expensive. It is really, really expensive. And it's also very strange that India catered to the complete, the digital transformation of the globe. The company sitting in Bangalore and Hyderabad controls the whole world when it comes to technology. But in India, the solutions are actually very costly because maybe the program is developed in Bangalore, but when it comes through Canada or US or Europe, and again,
we have very cheap one, yes.
I'm waiting for us to say that.
That is what everyone says, Raj, but the reality I'm telling you, this is one challenge. Why I'm telling this, but probably CIA could play a major role in bringing everybody together. This is one challenge we really face. And second, what happens is these multiple solutions. Everybody wants to sell multiple solutions, but there is no handshake between them.
Right.
In the construction,
Exactly,
I
we
find
answered
that
yes.
if I give you a simple example, like the BIM, when we are going to implement the BIM. Okay, we do the design in BIM, but finally, if the same BIM model, I will take it from LOD 300 to 400, update it during construction, and finally, if I am not able to hand over an as-built BIM model to the ultimate client, where a client would be able to use that one for operation, maintenance, and their facility management, I think all these efforts, somewhere we are losing it. Now, in this process, where the missing link happens is that, okay, as a contractor, my designers or my design consultant make a BIM model of a LOD 300, issue it to the site. Now, the fabricators will come, my vendors will come. So, if they want to make a huge, they say the steel roof, they want to export this one into Tekla. Now, the Tekla and Revit, there is a conflict. On the moment it is exported, there is 100 issues. Okay. Now, these kind of, the issues, because every solution provider make it something like, they want monopoly, they have their own other solutions. So this is creating another major issue why, many times we are hesitant to take it. And even also construction industry, multiple stakeholders are there, right? The client must be using something, some tool, but the contractor must be using another tool, PMC must be using another tool. Multiple examples where even the program I develop in Primavera, when I'm sending it to the client says, sorry, what I'm using is MSP. You make it in MSP. Now I have to make another program to present to the client in a different program. So these are the major, many times the real examples I'm giving you. And one more, the concern when we are going to invest in technology. What happens is that many times we make the deal, by the time the technology is implemented, already, something has happened. It's a very fast evolving area. A new version has come, new technology has come, again, you have to change over. So this is another fear. It is so fast, technology is changing. I think that is where I believe that CIA can add value here. Not only just making this kind of conference for awareness. I think they should set up a kind of a collaborative body wherein all the solution providers, all the end users, and also one more thing which is very important, that in the technology, even though technology has moved forward, I think our standards, we are not amending it. For example, as I mentioned earlier about the automated, we can today the make our machines automated. We can do the complete grading compaction, but the test standard, how to do the testing, to prove that the compaction is right, still we have to follow the IES, which is very old. So I think it's also important that our standards also has to get amended parallelly. So there, I think the government also should be part of this collaborative mechanism wherein we can influence, we can advocate what is happening in the world, so that the government also amend their standards. I think that is where I believe CIA would be able to add a lot of value in future.
I was actually thinking on a lighter note that I would be hearing about technologies where I walk in and we design, a building or a house on some CAD on a computer, and then 3D print it and it's ready in a week's time, right? So I was waiting for that, but I think that's still somewhere.
It's happening. No, it's happening. It's happening now.
Yeah, the most expensive company went bankrupt, Mr. Amit, this year.
Yes.
I think 2021. Largest company for rebuilt homes, they went bankrupt. $1 billion is lost because it didn't work in US.
Yeah, I'm sure it's ahead of its time. Mr. Srinivasan, if I may request you for your closing comments, we're coming up to the hour.
Yes, I can be a bit short in the interest of time. Okay, in order to harness the full potential of digitalization, in my opinion, we can't reach there by operating as individual players. Mr. Parmeshwar gave a very good example of the BIM. Okay. We should start to think of building ecosystems, okay, and working towards building those ecosystems where each of our businesses with our own products, with our own system, is seamlessly able to work with the other systems and equipments in the building. I think that would be kind of a good goal to think at, and that is possible, in my opinion, only by collaborative innovation. If all of us come together on working on certain common areas, I think the journey is long, but then those are the steps probably we should and the approach that we should take.
I'll take you up on that, sir. I'm from Tata Communications, and we call ourselves a digital ecosystem enabler, right? And together with the CII-CDT, I think we will move this forward. And, Kavita, let's make a point to create the community, invite the eminent panelists to join that, and so that we can take this forward. Mr. Kachu, if you would like to give the closing comment.
Sure. I have only two things. One is about Mr. Hari's comments about the cost and also changing the technologies. I have a client in Hyderabad, big architectural firm, paying 2,000 rupees to improve the efficiency, and they are very happy about that. So I'm talking about solutions, small solutions, affordable cost, big results. That is still possible. And about the change in technologies, technology can be also subscription based. So you don't really spend in the technology changes. You just pay monthly or annual or quarterly. So that's already factored in. This is one about the specific questions. And about the closing comment, I really request Kavita ma'am to create a working group, and I would be happy to really assist anytime, day or night, just to join and share my ideas. Let's really bring some change overall at the national level for the infrastructure. That's my wish.
Thank you very much to all the eminent panelists and Kavita to CII-CDT for bringing this together. I think it was an amazing discussion. A lot of learnings for me, right? As well as, of course, I'm sure for the audience. Let us continue this journey, this conversation. Let's not just stop it here. I think there's lots to be done, and we have the eminent panelists here who are the thought leaders in this space, been there, done that, who can make this truly come alive. And with that,
I think this should be the beginning only. Yeah.
Yes, this is the beginning of the journey. And with that, thank you everyone for taking the time and joining. And I wish you a very good day and a very good evening to you, Mr. Kachu. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, CII, and thank you all.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, Mr. Roy, for moderating this session. It was a very insightful session, lots of learnings for all of us as to how we could harness digital in the infrastructure space. I would like to thank all the speakers, Mr. Pital Bharadwaj, Dr. Hari Parameshwar, Mr. S. Srinivasan, Mr. Kachu, especially Mr. Kachu for having, stayed up and, it's midnight over there in Toronto. Thank you for joining us, and we'll certainly connect with you. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.